This is Michelle, and I'm here to do your 2019 year ahead reading. This reading will cover the entire year, and we will break it down into 4 quarters. Something a little different is that I am using a standard deck of playing cards. These are the B playing cards. And then I will bring in some additional tarot cards for clarification or guidance and encouragement. And I'll be using the Universal Weight Tarot deck for that. This deck is illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, but it has been recolored by Mary Hanson Roberts. So it's a little different than the deck that we have been using. The colors are just a little different. Now I'm just going to continue to shuffle the deck a bit more until I feel that the cards are ready for a cut. Thank you for your patience, Aquarius. All right, that is going to do the trick for us. So let's go ahead and cut. Well, and we have the Joker on the bottom. I haven't been really putting an emphasis on the bottom of the deck, but that is interesting to see. So perhaps a surprise coming through for you in 2019. And let's see what we start with in the first quarter. We have the 3 of Spades, followed by the 2 of Diamonds, and the Ace of Spades. For the second quarter, the 8 of Diamonds, the Queen of Spades, and the Jack of Spades. For the third quarter, the 7 of Clubs, 6 of Hearts, and 10 of Spades. And for the last quarter, 7 of Spades, 10 of Clubs, and 5 of Clubs. Wow. Okay, Aquarius, some very powerful cards in this spread, because we see the 2 10s, 2 7s, that Ace of Spades, 5 of Clubs, very powerful cards. So let's take a look. Let's start with that first quarter. Aquarius, it looks like at the beginning of the year, things can potentially ramp up very quickly for you. It's possible that some sort of opportunity will come up in that beginning quarter of the year. It's also very possible that it relates to a promotion or a position of power that you will assume. This is going to change things pretty drastically, it looks like, in the first quarter. And what I'm seeing is like the tempo picking up very, very quickly. You might also have a decision that you need to make, or choice about which way to go. It will be important that if you are in a decision-making situation, that you think in terms of the highest and best good, that your highest self, your highest goals, aspirations, and motivations, and values go into this decision-making process. Because if that is in mind, and if that is at the foundation and the backbone and the grounding of this decision that you make, things have the potential to work out extremely positively, and there could be a great deal of success ahead in 2019. For the second quarter, it looks like if this is involving some type of, I want to say work, but it's about more than work, because it's a whole financial picture that is involved here. And it also involves your values, what you believe to be important in life. Now, I know those two things can seem a little bit contradictory, but they're both represented in these diamonds that we are looking at. And so, Aquarius, some of you in the second quarter may find that you become involved in a very large institution, something that is has been established, I want to say, for a long time. It looks like there's the potential for you to become involved in a larger organization that somehow reflects your own values about life. I'm going to give you an example. This is coming up. It's possible, for example, this might actually be the case for some Aquarians, but it doesn't have to be. It's an example. For example, you might decide, because of the upcoming election cycle coming up, this would pertain, for example, to Aquarians in the United States, but you can just take this and translate it to whatever country you're in. But because of the upcoming election cycle, you might have made a decision to actually join a certain party and begin work within that party structure, the larger party structure that reflects your own sense of values. And at the same time, this can somewhat be related to your financial future and growing influence and power. So while some of you might actually start out in a volunteer position, it might grow into something that has to do with a profession, especially, I'm going to say, if you really have an interest in, let's say, social and civil rights, current politics of the day. Wow, I realize I just threw in a political slant there. Forgive me for that. It kind of came out because of the Aquarius sort of counterculture and humanitarian bent. But it doesn't necessarily have to be right or left. Okay, it could be right or it could be left. All right. And actually, in these days, you could look at either one as being somewhat counterculture, couldn't you? In a way. So I don't mean to slant this politically, but I am seeing the potential. This is an example of joining a group that reflects your own sense of values, and in some way this can lead to more influence and power. It doesn't have to be political, though. It could be any sort of group that you just feel like this is how I want to make change and affect change. It could have to do with writing, with publication, let's say. It could have to do with any kind of larger group of people. It could be a nonprofit, that's what I want to say. It could be also a nonprofit type of group that you get involved with, and you feel like this is a place where you can start to affect some change. I think that there's the potential for you to meet other people that resonate with you within this social structure. I do see the potential for your social contacts expanding through this kind of activity. Almost perhaps even in a little bit of a sudden and confusing way. It could be that all of a sudden that you are now contacting a lot of different people, much more than in your, let's say, your life as it was in 2018. I feel like the contacts with these other people will give you the feeling of being alive. And it could be even one particular person. That's also possible, that there's one particular person that you meet up with that is just, wow, this person gets me. We are understand one another on an intellectual level, and this can really spark a lot of mental excitement. And I think that it becomes clear the more and more that you get involved in this. For those of you that resonate with this very specific reading, I have to say, but for those of you that resonate with this, I think it becomes clearer to you by this around the third quarter that yes, this is where I would like to establish myself. This is a passion that makes sense for me. This is the sort of life that I want to lead. I don't want to lead a life that is just somewhat ho-hum, where things are a little bit in the doldrums. That's, I don't think, appealing to Aquarius. Aquarius wants to be on the cutting edge. And I think that you might find yourself there in 2019 and discovering that indeed this is where I belong. I certainly hope so. The reading that I'm getting and the feeling that I'm getting from this is extremely positive, I have to say, Aquarius. I see you coming alive. At the same time, it can also become clear that in order to move forward with this trajectory, something else will need to pass out of life or come to an end. And isn't that just the way when we are going through this kind of transition? I see this as really a kind of a series of rather, I want to say they're big events. Joining this group is a big event. I feel that, or at least it feels that way inside. And coming to realize that you want to invest yourself a lot deeper in this area is another big event, because it may call upon you to, as I said again, leave something else behind. Now, when we leave something behind, of course, there's something else that goes on, and that is that we're starting something brand new, and that can come with quite a bit of uncertainty, perhaps even confusion. But it's what needs to happen in order for this new, more invigorating life to begin. The end of this reading shows a very major change or it might be, we might use the word clarification for you in terms of your ambition, goals, work, social ties, and social contacts. I believe it starts really with the beginning of the year, I believe, even if it is only an idea at that point. And I believe it progresses to the point where you realize that, yes, indeed, this is the way I am going. This is the route that I am going to take. And so now, Aquarius, I'm going to pull some cards from the tarot deck for further clarification or insight. I'm really interested if any of you are resonating with this, and especially I'm wondering if you're resonating with the idea of joining a larger group that somehow resonates with your values and thinking, and what that might be. I had the idea of a political party or a nonprofit organization. We can keep this. Let's keep that Page of Pentacles there. It was just sort of a gentle flip, but I think we can keep it. And I'm also going to say, as I am pulling the tarot cards, because I know that many of you can read, probably most of you can read these cards, and you certainly know what they mean for you personally, more than I do. So I would recommend sort of trying to look at the Page of Pentacles and think, how does that relate to this first quarter? For you personally, how does that relate? Well, we had another flip. We're going to keep it the Three of Swords, which does actually correspond with the Three of Spades. Wow, we just had 3 cards flip. I am going to keep all of them. We have the 10 of Wands, the 4 of Wands. Wow, these are all wands, and the 3 of Wands. Let's keep going with the third quarter. So what might all of those wands or rod cards, as some people call them, how might that relate to the second quarter? 2 more cards for Aquarius for the third quarter, please. For our Aquarius friends. This is for the sign of Aquarius. Sun, moon, or rising. Perhaps just a lot of planets in Aquarius. That's also possible. 6 of Cups. 1 more card for the third quarter for Aquarius. Thank you for your patience, Aquarius. 4 of Pentacles. 2 more cards for Aquarius. I'm seeing 3 cards, Aquarius, and so I am going to take all 3. King of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, and the Sun. Okay, very interesting. All right, very interesting. So let's take a look at the tarot and see what further insight we find for Aquarius in the year 2019. Now, for the first quarter, I had stated a very rapid change related to some sort of decision, possibly about a new position, a new type of work, some sort of option that comes in for you or opportunity, and also the potential to have more power moving forward in the future. And what we pulled was the 3 of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. Well, certainly, not the Ace, the Page of Pentacles. I believe the Page of Pentacles does relate quite clearly to the concept, the overall concept of a new beginning or a new start that has to do, somehow is connected with your work life. It doesn't mean that you're just punching in and punching out here. It's not that sort of a scenario. I believe that it's going to be something far more important and involve what is really truly important to you in life. But pulling the Three of Swords, we can see that it could be that perhaps in 2018 or earlier, that there was some sort of disappointment involved leading up to this decision. Now, it could be, I'm going to say simply, but I don't mean to downplay the Three of Swords, but what I want to say that is that it could be simply that you were just feeling disappointed overall in the levels of satisfaction that you were getting from your daily life. That is possible for some folks. Now, that's a very specific message. So, if that doesn't ring true for you, well, it doesn't actually negate this whole entire reading. You still might find that something new comes in and that suddenly you are kind of, I want to say sort of thrust into this new trajectory. But for some folks, it's possible that you just, I want to say, were not feeling perhaps that you were reaching your potential or had high levels of satisfaction from what you were doing in the past. And now we have, let's see, all of these wands coming in. We have the concept of a great deal of work ahead, but perhaps within a more stable sort of organization and a lot of opportunity. Well, here's what I want to say about this. I'm going to bring in just a little bit of astrology, Aquarius, because it just makes so much sense here. Let's keep in mind that, Saturn is in Capricorn now. Saturn rules Capricorn, of course, and so there's a lot of changes going on there. But it will be in Aquarius before too long, and it will remain there for about 3 years. Now, I'm jumping way ahead, but let me just give you the dates. It's going to be March 2020 until March 2023. I know I said this was for 2019, but I have to bring this up because I feel like it's going to relate or tie in. When Saturn enters Aquarius, it will still be in dignity. It's your ruler, along with Uranus in the modern astrology. And so you might find that you can start to even feel it now, because Saturn is so close to Aquarius, and also 2020 isn't that far away. So even beginning now, you can start to feel the sense that there's going to be a lot of work ahead, a lot of work coming up, and it may be involved with joining this new organization that is more stable. But what I want to see, and this is my read for Aquarius, going out 2019 and into these, all the way into 2023, that if you find that you are having to really work hard over the next, let's say 4 years even, I feel that it is going to be, on the one hand, it's hard work, but on the other hand, it doesn't have to feel like it. And in fact, I don't think it will feel like it. I think that there's a possibility that because it is a cause that you believe in, and it's something that you care about, that you are going to be able to work and work and work and feel energized through the process. I think you can also feel energized through the social contacts that you're making. And another factor is that you see so much opportunity ahead for yourself and for others that that is going to energize you through this whole process. Now, in the third quarter, things become a little bit more solidified. We can see that perhaps, well, it looks like we will have to leave something behind if we are going to make this drastic of a change. And Aquarius, it's possible that, well, a couple of things. It can just be, I want to say there's sort of a process of maturity that can occur. I'm also going to connect this to Saturn, and I know this was for 2019, but more and more I'm feeling like this reading extends out for a few years. I feel like there is a sense of leaving childhood behind. Some of you may have to relocate and leave perhaps your hometown or a place where you have a lot of friends. That is possible, that this new vocation that comes into your life may call you away from what is familiar. That is what I am seeing here. But overall, I don't see this as a big problem. It's just part of the process. Regarding the Four of Pentacles, I really am just going to, I'm just kind of seeing a traditional read, which is just, you know, you may find yourself in a position of having to budget in order to get through this whole process and work your way up this new ladder. And if that's the case, I just want to say it might be a good idea to actually start now in January, just thinking about, well, if I'm going to make these big changes, and you will know, right? You're going to know pretty soon in the first quarter, we're already in January. If it looks like, well, I'm going to make a big change here, perhaps it's wise to actually start budgeting at this point so that by the time you get to the third quarter, you're prepared. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I'm thinking some other things, but you know, we have so many more readings. You also have your January reading, by the way, January 2019, and so and then February coming up. So there's a lot of readings. Let's get into this final quarter where it looks like a decision has really been made. Change is coming about. Things can feel a little bit confusing, but here's what's coming through, Aquarius, really. I think, you know, the King of Cups, although this is, you know, traditionally a water card, I feel like this can represent you. I have said this before too, you know, a lot of times I think we do get cups representing Aquarius because you are the water bearer. So even though you're an air sign, there's a sense of a connection to water. But there's a little bit of a rocky sea all about the King of Cups. And it could feel that way at the end of the year. You know, like things are just unsettled. There's a lot of uncertainty about what the conditions are going to be all around you, especially going into this brand new either line of work and brand new ambitions, goals. But I want to say that, you know, Aquarius, you are a fixed sign, and I see you remaining very stable. Look at this concrete slab here, how stable it is. If anyone can weather this, it's you, Aquarius. I feel that you are going to weather this storm, this little stormy sea, without any problems at all. I see you also as having a very strong foundation. I'm hearing family at this point. And so it's possible for some of you, you may be leaving family behind, especially if you have to make a move, if there's a change in location, but your family is there behind you all the way. If it's not the entire family, there are some family members, we might say, behind you all the way. And I feel even your entire life, your whole life trajectory here is behind you in terms of preparation. I want to say if it feels like at certain points of the year, like you have some sort of restraints or limitations, which you know, Aquarius doesn't like that. But if you're sensing that, and that's also part of having Saturn right in our sign, even if it is your ruler, there can be a sense of some restrictions or limitations coming in. But I'm here to say that this is going to lead to a great sense of freedom, and potentially it will be even within the year 2019, towards the end of the year. I see you floating, Aquarius. I see you flying, and I see you in your strength and just with a much closer connection to your core self. I feel, Aquarius, I have to say, this is a very positive, strong reading for 2019. It looks like a very important cycle in life. I'm so happy to see this because we need Aquarius here in the world to affect these major changes. Aquarius, I want to say thank you so very much for visiting. I want to thank you for your views, likes, shares, and to the subscribers. I appreciate your support so very much. This is your reading for 2019, and I'll see you next time.